To begin creating your Sway portfolio, scroll down right below this video and I have a link that will take you to sway.com. You will then need to log in using your school account. Make sure you select work or school accounts right here. Now you can either select create new or you can choose to start from a template. This is a photography and design portfolio template, so if you want to streamline this and make this really quick, you can select this and you can see it actually gives you the different fields and background imagery. I'm going to go back and I'm actually going to choose create new. Now I'm going to title my Sway and I'm going to choose one of my favorite artworks to fit in my background. Now when selecting your artwork, make sure text will actually look good on it, or you can just choose a simple image. Since I have all of my images already saved into folders, I can say select insert and choose my device, select my photo library. Now I can go to albums and click my Art Foundations albums. Now I have all of my images for this class right here in one place. I'm going to go ahead and select this portrait that I've drawn. And if I want to add anything else, I can expand this header and you can see I can add image descriptions or captions or even a logo. So if I want to include my logo, I can select it here and add that image. Now another thing you can do is if you select design here at the top, you can go to styles and there are already styles of text and background and color that kind of fit together within one theme. So if I want to try one of these styles, I like these simple ones, but you can choose whichever one you like. You can even go over and select all these other options of color schemes. I'm going to keep it pretty simple because most of my imagery is pretty monochromatic, so I want a monochromatic color scheme. I can select this one. You can see the text color changes, or if I select this, it gives me a background. So if the image doesn't fill the screen, it'll actually show that background color. So find a color scheme that works for your images, and then make sure you stick to that scheme throughout the whole presentation so that it flows together. If you ever need to go back one step, it has a built-in undo arrow here. Select this, not that arrow, because that will actually take you back and you might lose your work. Then I'm going to come back to my storyline. So this is my first story. This is the header. To add the next section, I'm going to hit the plus sign, and I want another heading for the next project. So think of the large projects as chapters, so I can just select another heading. So let me just show you how I'd go about doing this. If you need to reference those categories, I can just come back into my Schoology document, and to see my next project here is draw object 4 ways. So I'm going to come back into Sway, click insert image, go to my device, and draw object 4 ways. Now I can add a caption, and I can add text underneath it that explains what this project is. Once you've created your caption, make sure you proofread to make sure there's no spelling mistakes or grammatical errors. Now, if you want to include any other imagery, you could select the plus sign again and choose more images. You could also add different media, and you can also arrange how these images are displayed, whether they're just aligned or stacked like actual photos. And you can also come back to the image and add focal points. So that way when you're in presentation mode, you can choose whether it's zoomed in on one image or it shows the whole drawing. So if I wanted to just zoom in on here, you can see how it will be displayed in that presentation view. If I want the whole image to be shown, you can see that's what it will look like. I actually like the close-up, so whichever you choose, just be consistent throughout your presentation. Once you have this category finished, I'm going to minimize that so it stays organized, and I'm going to move on to my next category. I'm going to choose heading 1. You can see section 2, and I'm going to give this a name. So I'm going to come back to Schoology. The next project was Contour Bottles. If you want to call this project a different name, that is perfectly fine. So title your artwork something relevant to what it actually displays. So if I want to call this Bottle Landscape, that is perfectly fitting for this image. So I'm going to choose Insert Image here and go through this process again. I'm going to add my description. Continue to go through this process until you've included all of these projects and these sketchbook drawings. Now, like I said in the other video, if you want to include other projects that we've done, go ahead and do that. Or let's just say for my stencil project, once I get there, if I want to include more images than just that final image because I wasn't super happy with the results, I can include my process photos of my original photographs, my actual stencil cutout, my finished painting, or even the textures that I developed on that substrate. So think about what is going to fully describe your images and also what makes your portfolio look the best and showcase your growth throughout the semester. For these sketchbook drawings, I could display this slightly different. So I'm going to put these in one category of my sketchbook. Imagine that I've already completed all of these other project categories, and I'm going to jump down to these sketchbooks. So I'm going to create a category, and I'll call this Sketchbook. And you can see I can add multiple pictures to one of these categories. I can come in and caption each one of these, and I can also add, if I expand underneath, I can add specific information right underneath. So I can title this, let's call this 3-point perspective. And if I want to add more information, I can do that by just clicking the plus sign and add more text right underneath that image. And before I move on to the next thing, I want to just show you some of those display options that you have. So I'm going to come into these images and say stack. And you can see the different display options you have. You can add the focus points, or you can show what size you want each of these images to be in that final display. So to actually see what this will look like, I can come out of my storyline and hit this play button. And as I scroll down through here, you can see all of the different categories show up as these large images with the title on them with the description underneath. As I get down here to Sketchbook, you can see all of those images are just in one category. However, if I want all of those to be kind of condensed into one subcategory, I'm going to come back in here. I want these to be grouped together. So I can select these by selecting this little checkbox mark in the corner. And I'm going to select Group. Now you can see I have these different options of if I want a grid or I want this gallery display or slideshow. I could do a stack. I could do these automatic. So I'm going to show you, let's do the slideshow for this. And then we'll come back to play. As I come down here to the Sketchbook tab, you can see I have the large image, and then I have all of these in this little tiny slideshow presentation, which looks really nice in this final presentation format. Now, if you select this little thing at the bottom right, it shows you the different chapters. So I have my heading, I have each of my projects, I have my sketchbook assignments. So if you want to do anything else like activities or anything that you would think would assist in showing what you've learned this semester, go ahead and include that. Just start by including everything that I'm requiring you to, and then you can get creative and include anything else that you would like. So let's say you were doing drawings on your own, you can include that here, just so it was done during the time period of our semester. Once you've fully completed your portfolio, come back to the Schoology page and review the required material and all the other constraints to make sure that you're meeting all of the requirements. Also come down here and take a look at the rubric and just double check all these fields to make sure that you are doing the best that you can to meet what's expected. This is how you actually submit it. So pay close attention here. This is very important. Select Share. Make sure this is selected. If this is not selected, I may not be able to review it. So make sure you select anyone with a link. And then I'm going to select Get Visual Link because it's going to give me a preview of the portfolio as well as the link. Select Copy. Then come back into the project. And this is what you are actually going to submit, that preview copy to your Sway link. Then not only do I want you to submit the share link, I want you to select these 3 dots and select Export. Select PDF, and you can select the download folder. You can see this has now gone to my downloads, and it appears just as a simple PDF. Obviously, this doesn't look as good as the Sway link. However, this is going to be your backup, which you are also submitting. So you're submitting that preview link to the Sway document, and you're also submitting the downloaded PDF. If you have any other specific questions on how to do something in Sway, they do have a pretty good help feature right here. So go ahead and look up anything else. And then also on the Schoology page, I have 3 student examples right here. You can scroll through just within the Schoology page itself, or if you want to see it closer, go ahead and hit the full screen button, and you can look through how they have their work presented. Now, this is from a different class, so they had different requirements than you, so just use it as a loose reference. Good luck putting your Sway portfolio together. I look forward to seeing them.